check the radio. Pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to PT Race TV, now live here in Martinsville, Virginia, here at the paperclip track known as Martinsville Speedway for tonight's action of the BackFire Sim Racing Next Gen Cup Series, live on the show here on PT Race TV. Hi, everyone. My name is Crusader Christian Schreier, joining you guys tonight as we are live here under the lights, under the stars. Drivers preparing up for their battle ahead and their last-ditch efforts to continue on their playoffs hopes and dreams. As every single one of these drivers right now look to continue on with some tough racing and some tough battles to come. There is certainly no shortage of hard racers in this one, and there are certainly no shortages of how these points will shake up and continue on as only 48 points separate out the playoff drivers from the back of the bottom of the list. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. Blake Howell with the lead right now at 2048. And then Tom Moore at 20:45 below him, with another 20:45 of Patrick McQuay, and then Wesley Fuller kind of at 20:42, still in that hunt, in that little showcase there. Chris Papa, of course, also with the 2038. Cole Martin in the 2038s as well. Robert F. Kinney currently 2037. And then there's a solid number, Matthew Rodriguez with 2037, 2034 for Thaddeus Marshall, Ricky Gonzalez 2033, 2029 for Carl Hanworth, Christian Bruce in 2000 right now is on the bubble. As you've seen, that number 14 kind of coming around the track here for his qualifying sessions and practice laps on the track, lays down the 8th fastest of the field. So let's see how it all plays out for him and his crew right now as we take a look at our gridding order here in just a moment. But first, a little word of advice here at the paperclip track. There's only one line, and it's that bottom lane. If you dare try to go anything further up on that concrete cement area there, well, let's just say you wish you never had done that, because it's going to be a wild ride getting off from that end here. But nevertheless, here, of course, this is a very unique shaped track here. It's a very close cornered area here. You can see a lot of tight cornering and a lot of harder racing on those straights. Things will be a lot more difficult as time progresses on, especially with these next-gen tires being put up for grab with little to no grip on them. I'll start them on the pole, though. Here we're going to go offside. Number 51, Carl Hanworth, is the number 1 seed in that number Sheen. And then Blake Howell will be, of course, in the number 26 to his outside. Row number 2, it's Patrick McQuay, the 77's outside. Thaddeus Marshall, the 87. And row number 3, it's Wes Fuller in the 35's outside. Ricky Gonzalez in the 48. And row number 4, Matthew Rodriguez in the 57, with his outside being Christian Roos in the 14. And row 5, Tom Bourne, the 16's outside. Cole Martin in the 45. And row 6, Chris Papa, the 13, to his outside. Josh Bilter, not running the race. He will actually be running some of the show down there. But the 46 will still be forever in our hearts, racing down on the track, just in his own little way. Field is set to go, ready for action tonight here on PT Race TV. Been a bit of a loud start, bit of a loud rise around the track as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things play out and how things will go down against some heavy hitters in this one, of course. The normal favorites and the normal big names you see usually popping up around the track here will definitely have their eyes set on the prize and eyes set on the run here. Carl Hanworth finally getting the number 51 machine out there. There he is. Lining them up into position. 200 laps to the distance here for these drivers, and we are rolling off the start. It's time to go racing. Now, if I remember right, and I may have somebody pop in here to come by here and let me know about some of the race control deals and as well as the positioning here, but I believe we have some stage breaks in between, so if they do pop up, we'll let you know about them. But for now, anyway, and that would usually be when I say it might be a bit of a ghost caution out there, but just keep in mind it's probably actually just the stage break being put into effect. One more time around to the 40,000 in the stands. Race fans, drivers in their seats, fans out of the bleachers and on their feet. It's time to get them rolling, time to get them waved around. Let them hear you, let them see you. We are ready to go here in Martinsville, Virginia. Robert Van Ness saying go 77 on our show. He wants to root on his boy and see him get another showcase down on the track side. Field in motion here, 200 laps to the distance here. The drivers are ready to go, and they are hammered down time and all set for motion. Entering corner number 3 down into turn number 4, initiating for the green flag start. Awaiting that call and awaiting the rise to the high skies they come. Green flag, drop the hammer down. Let's go racing. Trouble already down there for the 35. Wes Fuller overshoots the turn in turn number 3 and 4. A little damage on the right side of that car already. That will make things a little bit tricky here for him, as he's going to have to try to fight the damage and fight the car off. The good news for him is that if he can get that tire to open up a little bit, he won't have really anything scraping up on the actual tread itself, so that will give him a bit of a hand there. The only downside, though, is with that damage there, it's also going to slow up his aerodynamics of the speed here, kind of getting the long run territory. Stick and Shakes 57, Matthew Rodriguez here right now, dealing with Tom Bourne, the airborne man himself in the 16 Ford Mustang. And he swings a little wide there as well in the 57 here. Opens the door up, and now it's time for some play at 1/16 action coming around the track. CBD MD77 though, Patrick McQuay now looking to try to garner up some position and put up a fight to this man, number 26, Blake Howell. As problems go down there, unfortunately for the number 45, Cole Martin comes to a bit of a standstill and a stop. We'll take a look at the replay in a minute, but he has brought the first caution out. Take a look at the replay here and see what happened. Brought to you in part by BackFire Sim Racing. Let's take a look at this one. Hard to really say what happened exactly here, other than just kind of the old bump and runs, if you will, the old close corner contacts that Martinsville's been known to bring up. But we've seen here before where it can get a little bit trickier than that, just to kind of hold a line down, especially considering what you got going on between each turn, between each driver, as we just witnessed here with Ricky Gonzalez, the 48, and the 45 with Cole Martin. The 45 Richard Martin home service machine just kind of banished off to the shadow realm, if you will. I don't think Gonzalez intentionally tried to do it. I think he just kind of had a lot of room to really get anywhere else but inside that corner, so he knew he had to do something. Either way, he'll square everybody up back to square one, and we'll refire them up. Double filed up now onto the restart. They're trying to get everyone squared away right now, trying to get things pushed back into position here. Maybe one more lap around and it will be indeed. Bit of a long race ordeal as well. These guys are going to have to be very temperamental on their cornering and temperamental on their track side here. We'll be at about lap 9 in. We'll have lap 10 start up here as I get to the restart zone. Then it'll be about 10. It'll be about 20 more times of that. We'll be calling this race good to go. Off the corner down in turn number 4 here, leading it back in. Our flagman has the flag. He flies them up, and we're going green again. Carl Hanwork getting another good restart out of the punch and out of the hold shot. Blake Howell already looking to try to make a move off on Thaddeus on Patrick McQuaid here as McQuaid drives up a little bit deeper, gives him a slight opening, but can't quite punch his ticket yet. Thaddeus Marshall back there in the 87 now has a little bit of company here, as he'll have to see to it the 16 and Tom Bourne right behind him. And the Genesis Rescue Systems player 116 is starting to move the chains in just a little bit more as she goes and trying to see what he can bring to the table. Remember, he started back in 9th spot. He's currently up 4 spots to start this race. Pretty darn impressive considering that he is still currently in the dogfight, if you will, when it comes to being in the top spots and the top honors. And he knows any positions lost today could cost him dearly. He's got to stay just ahead of Blake Howell though and really keep his focus on the track itself and on the race itself, not worrying about what's going on in that points race deficit. Oh, trouble down there for the 77 Patrick McQuaid here of all things. The 77 losing down the CBDM MD machine out of turn 4. And we saw it last night as well where some guys just got a little bit too antsy and kind of found themselves in a bit of a bad spot with these next-gen cup cars. Again, these things are not easy to handle for good reason. One more look at it here. And he overshorts the corner, and you can see Blake Howell just barely eking by. Great move there by Tom Bourne, actually, to back off as Thaddeus Marshall kind of clips him. Gave him some time to kind of breathe and let the car come settle back down. That's what ended up saving him from a much more terrible scenario there. Christian Roos right now in the number 14 Ford Mustang looking to try to make some headways here, pushing up there to the Snake and Shake number 57 Matt Rodriguez. And McQuaid with even more trouble down there again. He will spin her on by here out of turn number 2 this time. Caution does fly out this time by. He's got some major damage on that front of the nose there, so this one will definitely bring out the caution for a good reason. Well, you take a look at the replay here, and you can see he just dove it up a little bit too high. It looked like he's trying to corner it back down, and the car just pretty much snap locked him right into the right. That's kind of what I'm going to give the nickname for it, is when the car just gets completely centered straight to the other way around than you were originally going and are intending to. These next-gen cars have been known for that. It's kind of a snappy turnaround. Watch this. I call it the snap lock shot now. You can see he feels the rear end kicking out from underneath him, but he's got to steer it in and then steer it off. Problem is, overshoot it, oversteer it, that's your end result. And the 77 is not off to the best of starts here, unfortunately, in that crew. I guarantee he's not happy about that one. West Fuller, Matthew Rodriguez, Ricky Gonzalez, Tom Bourne, Chris Papa have all entered in pit road. Carl Handwork, Blake Howell, Thaddeus Marshall, Christian Roos, Carl Martin will stay out. And maybe only a second caution of the day, but it looks like we're back to square number 1. Half-mile in length here at Martinsville Speedway, by far one of the shortest tracks that has ever ran on for NASCAR. But I can't say it's the shortest track this season, though. If you want to talk about that, that honor goes to LA Coliseum now. Which, for the life of me, I can't even believe it. Robert Van Ness saying it's early. Oh, it is early, my friend. It's always early here. It's good to have you back on board as well, sir. I know you tune in quite a bit. We do appreciate you so much for that. Base car enters off turn number 3. We'll send him on back down. Turn number 4 here. The lights are starting to come on. The bright sky from the bright skies of Martinsville down to the night caps of the show here. We are back green flag racing. First set of corners here out of the gate. Carl Handwork, early advantage, no surprise here. In the back of the pack, though, those that went into pit road now have a little bit of a head scratcher on their way because now they got to figure out how to get around traffic here without trying to go too crazy. They don't just want to send it in there and go ho-hum on their rear ends. That's already been done enough in normal racing. They've got to be careful about how they push up and how they push through. There are ways to pass around here cleanly, if you can believe it, but most of the time, I will say, you usually will see someone kind of giving a little bit of a bump around on some of these folks. If Blake Howell keeps doing what he's doing right now, though, he'll pretty much have himself a field day and a half here with positioning into the playoffs run here. But again, he's going to need to be very careful about how far he goes and how quickly he goes around because it can get very tricky late in the race. Also, something I want you to keep a close eye on, you're actually seeing on that 45 right now, but keep a close eye on some of these guys as they enter off into the turns. Watch those front tires actually lock up and actually stop completely on a dime package here as they're trying to get a grip of that bottom lane. That's something very not unique to, of course, racing here in general, but for these next gens, it's something I noticed a lot more often. The fronts of these cars, the noses actually dive so far down that it locks the entire front end suspension up, to where the rear end needs to start kind of kicking the travel back into place and kind of giving itself some breathing room to then make the move off, make the charge around. And you've seen earlier on, some guys were kind of locking them up a lot quicker than others. Usually you see them on qualifying laps where they'll lock the brakes up. But here in this case, it looks like things like that is not the case here as the rest of our field continues to move the chains up with Matthew Rodriguez making a pass around Cole Martin at 45. Rodriguez there got a great pass, got a great runoff here, and now you can see the 16 of Tom Bourne. You can see right there it is right there. You see that front tire, it locked up completely, so it almost looks like it's almost going backwards as he's going through the turn. That's because he's literally locking the brake rotors up. You can see them even on fire there, just lighting up to the sky. That means he is working that brake. He's punching it as hard as he can, basically using all that throttle on the straights and braking hard to get it to set into the turn and then rotate off the turn to then get the passing and maneuvering done. That's how you gain speed. It's pretty much, I always said the best way to race is find a way to blend the track out. Can you find a way to get the car to kind of like in bowling, you know, when you're in a bowling alley, you want to see the ball curve, you need to figure out what's the best angle, what's the best shot to get a perfect spot, perfect diameter and perfect angle to hit from on the head pin. It's no different in racing. You're trying to figure out how to get the steering wheel locked into a perfect area, perfect round shaped line to then rotate without as littlest to no movement, if at all possible, to help garner speed and control while also taking care of your equipment and keeping your tires fresh and clean. That's why you see on those short tracks like the quarter miles, it's really whoever can figure out how to rotate the car the best that wins that race generally, because they can get the best qualifying laps and also survive through lap traffic. And then the others, well, they usually just like to put the bumper to each other. Onboard camera here with Carl Ham working number 51 as currently Blake Howell pulls his way in second, still holding down a good charge here. And I think it's time to go on board here with the number 26 here, Blake Howell. Let's get some ideals here and see what he's been doing to keep this car under pressure and keep it more on the run. We'll look at this lap as he comes around turn 3 and 4. This is your GG26 Ford Mustang onboard camera here. Let's take a look. Now you listen to that throttle rhythm. Now look at the steering. Look how smooth he comes off that corner. Look how he doesn't try to overdrive it, kind of overshoot it. Little brake, entering in a turn. Kind of blend it on the bottom. Stay to that apron, down without going onto it. And let the car just kind of nicely, gently take itself through the areas and through the angles. It is so easy to get a little too hamstrung, a little too aggressive, a little too on the nose with those corners, but if you can time it just right, makes for some great quality action racing and some good momentum boost and power there. Christian Roos, number 14, the 1-3 speed teammate right now, struggling a little bit off of turn number 1 and 2. Here he opened the door up for Rodriguez, and Rodriguez, like a thief in the night, decided to sneak his way on by and steal position away. I think maybe he's not too thrilled that he ended up kind of losing that position, so he tried to drive it harder off in 3 and 4 or 1 and 2, but it did not quite give him the same ordeal. But take a look at that brake rotor though. Look as he comes off the straight. He's not on that brake obviously, but look at it just light up from the skies below. You could just see that thing just completely hammered down and on the charge. That's how hard they're braking to get these cars to steer into the turn. They have to do that because they're carrying so much momentum going into those straights. Remember, these guys are going upwards of 120, 125 miles per hour in some cases in qualifying, just to even lay into that run and lay into that speed. It is absolutely critical that they find an opening and they find the area that works best for them. As time goes on, things start to get a little bit more going. Damage there on the CBDMD machine of the 77's Patrick McQuay, but that doesn't seem to be stopping him anytime soon. Remember, this being a shorter track too, that kind of helps him out a little bit, knowing that he's got damage on that car. He doesn't necessarily have to worry about all the problems, all the technicality issues there. He can just kind of run himself into the ground a little bit. He can let this car kind of eat and dig into the field. Really, the only thing that's going to be a troublesome nuisance for him in the long haul is going to be how much does the oil temperature and the engine kind of power up. Because of being in that position, in that predicament, it gets to be very, very hard on the pistons as well as on the actual heat of the motor. And I think he's very well aware of that and trying to keep a close eye on it. But he's still hanging in there. Gotta give him credit and give him some love when he's got the going there. And caution flag will fly on out here. Looks like some troubles down there. Unfortunately, Thaddeus Marshall going to put the 87 on the wall on the front straightaway, I believe that is. And it is. Let's take a look at the replay here and see what happened. This might have just been overshooting the corners and just trying to get back into the race run here, but this was definitely a mistake and a half, I will say. Thaddeus knew it. He was trying to avoid being put a lap down, but unfortunately that did not quite go his way there. I think we'll take one more look at it here and see about the onboard replay here. We'll see what he looked like when he was going for the wild ride there. He did have damage on that left front end too, so that's definitely not helping his case any. Here's what it looked like on the onboard camera though. Spun her on by and let her on around. One-fourth the way through this one right now, and the field's still trying to hang down, hang tough, and hang strong. So many angles and so many spots to work with. It gets very tricky over time, and again, these tires certainly are not going to be able to hold on. Fields double file back set to go here, and we're ready to get back down to business, back down to the action here on PT Race TV. Off to the quarter ends here down in turn number 3, and 4 you see our pace car coming around town. Send them on their way and let them eat some run and eat some concrete and asphalt out there at it. Green flag back on out. Smooth transition entering from turn number 1 into turn number 2. And the number 13 there, Chris Papa, in the 1-3 speed, holding down player 116 of Tom Bourne here. And as Bourne tries to now negotiate some troublesome spots and try to fire his run off. Papa, been one of the guys I've always talked about here quite frequently on PT Race TV. He's got a guy, very hard racer in his own right, but I feel as though he definitely is one of those guys that gets a bad rap and a bad set of luck here on PT Race TV, and I don't know how that comes to be so many times, but I think really it's kind of been a matter of time before we start to really see him start to punch his ticket and start punching his gaps up and show the boys in the world he means business when he comes out on this track. The game served 26 of Blake Allen having some problems down there, but I'll tell you one thing right now, the problems are going to be with that caution flag popping out. Looks like a stage break has come too. So the gamer subs, I believe that is what that back end says there. Yep, the GG gamer subs. So pretty neat looking real ride there. Let's get everyone kind of squared back into square one again. Carl Handwork though, man, talk about taking it to the limit, taking this one to the wire. This fella right here, deadlocked, dead loaded here. He wants to get a race win, and he has not been to victory lane in quite some time. We'll see if he can change that though. And Tom Bourne, despite some damage on that right front fender, is going to try to do what I've always said is the very most difficult thing about racing, and that is develop the long-term strategy. But the good news for him is he'll have Cole Martin kind of falling behind him here to help him out. So with Cole Martin back there, that means one less driver he has to worry about trying to push anything on him or trying to push him around a little bit. But, you know, in theory, is that going to necessarily give him the advantage for the long term? Is that necessarily going to give him any chances to work with here? I don't know. So right now you can see Cole Martin getting his tires warmed up. Ricky Gonzalez right behind him there as well. When you see drivers warming the tires up, they're trying to get some heat into those cars, get some heat into the tire ends. When you're probably wondering at home, why would you want heat in the tires? Doesn't that kind of burn them up? Well, in a way it does burn up some of the treads on the car and kind of gives them a little bit more of a kind of a lighter feeling, if you will. But that's the case. You don't want to go into a turn with a slick tire and then having to figure out how to grip it from there with some heat in there. The friction caused from the tire itself actually builds up and actually then gives them speed to work with. That's why they're so comprehensive and very focused on when they do that and how they set it up as we bring the green flag back on out. Chris Papa way wide in the turn there, ending off down turn number 2, down to the back straightaway they go. And you can see every driver for themselves here as Tom Bourne holds the line down to end the field in place. Christian Wilson, that number 14, going straight to the bottom lane already, make a move off on the 77 of Patrick McQuaid. The CBDMD machine trying to hang on though. nest, it might be time to get the rabbit's foot out because he's going to need a little bit of love and a little bit of help. A little bit of luck never hurts. Christian Rusto holding on, having a little problem down out turn number 4. Kind of got loose and got a little sideways there. Hangs on, enters into the turn pretty hard there though. Pushes the 77 upward towards the wall protection, but the 14 could not get the full runoff into that area. This is some great back and forth action as now Thaddeus Marshall now moves his car up into the field. So we know the 51 of Carl Handwerk already has his stage win in and has his kind of has that wrapped up, but I guess he wasn't quite satisfied with that yet. And makes a pass around the 60 and Tom Bourne takes position over. We'll take a look at the Pete Timmons replay that got him into that position here. And boy, what a little bit of a road he had to get to this position. Came off pit road and he was pretty much the first one out of the gate, and then he just decided to manhandle the rest of the field. Blake Howell tried to get him back away from everything, but Cole Martin had nothing to hold him off with. And you can just see what those fresher set tires will do for you. Tom on some burnt ends. He lost it in turn number 3 and 4, then turn 1 and 2. He was not able to hold back that 51, despite really putting up a bit of a valiant effort. Not enough to keep him back. Back to the live footage right now here. Cole Martin here is now back on the attack on the 26 of Blake Howell, despite being a few laps less on the tire ends here. He's still not going to give up. It will not go down. And by the way, his rear end completely and utterly destroyed on the back of that thing, and it's still hanging on for a good measure or two. Wes Fuller now pushing the number 48 Ricky Gonzalez up to the top side here. As the Busch Light 35 machine red, big old Big Red trying to move up the chains, move up the run here. And speaking of running up the chains and up a run or two, problems down there for Thaddeus Marshall in the 87 and the 14 Christian Roos. Well, bye. Well, I guess there's only one way to really figure out what the heck happened here. You know the drill. Let's visit the replay. Thank goodness for live instant replays. Here's what happened. Ooh. Well, I don't think Thaddeus meant to get the 14. But you can see that brake locked so quick on the 87, and that thing, once it went in deep, and it stuck right to it. The good news is it wasn't a Ty Gibbs bump and run, if you will. He seems to be good at that as of late. And no, I'm not hating on Ty Gibbs, by the way, just for the record. It's just observations, folks. But there you see Thaddeus Marshall just kind of getting a little too close for comfort and clips the 14 of Christian Roos. What a tough break there for both guys there. Definitely not what they wanted to have happen. And if anyone wants to try to use anything what I said earlier, I do respect Ty Gibbs for his racing abilities. I will say he is a good driver, so don't think for 1 second that I'm not going to say anything else to that. But I'm just saying, like, in our day and age, in our racing world, that seems to be kind of the ordeal, the kind of style of racing we are been presented and kind of getting used to, which is the aggressive, no holds barred, don't give out to anybody. You got to stay on the throttle and on the loud pedal and make sure drivers know who's boss. But if you ask me, that should always have been the mindset. That's short track racing, boys. Just don't destroy your equipment and call it good. Well, we'll double file them back up here, put them back on the restart zone here. And make sure these guys get squared away for part 2 of this one. And the stage 2, if you will. And it looks like we're not quite ready just yet. There, the flagman saying, hold on a second, hold on, we'll go green when we feel like it. So they'll have at lap 70 here, then set back into motion, set back into the field here. They'll send it back on their way and let them just drive it out from there. You can just see though, man, some of the treads, some of the track tires, man, have already taken a beating down on these cars, and they've already given them quite a bit of a handful, to say the least, for that long haul. And you just gotta wonder as a driver, you know, are you able to kind of keep up with that position, keep up with that pace, knowing that it's gonna get worse and worse without that little extra inner tire, if you will, compared to what these outer tires, I've always said, are. They're bigger and they are a little bit stronger on the brakes, but they're very more difficult, in my opinion, to handle and steer around. And we're ready to get back underway now here. Looks like pace car will come off this time by out of turn number 3 and 4. 70 out of 200 laps so far completed. And our Murders Row drivers looking to build the pace and build speeds back in. Carl Hamburg, though, definitely going to be the favorite on the restart here. We'll see if he holds it true and holds it true down to the ends here off of turn number 4. Back to the green flag we go. Straight lining him down in turn number 1 and 2. Blake Howell. He's not giving an inch here to that 16. No way, Jose. He knows Tom wants to steal his top spot in the playoffs. And if he can get that chance, he'll certainly make him work for it. One 3-speed Christian Bruce right now trying to hang out there with his teammate Chris Papa in the 13. 1 3-speed Ford Mustangs. These bad boys right now just trying to see if they can stay a little bit more on the tail end of the field for now, keep their cars safe and sacred. I think they're really looking more towards the overall picture and the overall package they're dealing with here. I don't think they really want to do too much damage, really make too much noise out of the gate. Hey, Ellen Fuller is now with us saying, hey, Tiletown Racing guys, good luck. Ellen, great to have you back on board, darling. Of course, our Tiletown Racing boys, 51 Carl Handwork, Thaddeus Marshall in that 87. And of course, who could forget the boy in 35, Wes Fuller. Coming off the edges here, down across the track, drivers continuously moving the chains on in, looking for some openings, looking for some runs off here through the pace and through the fields. Openings coming when they can, and speeds getting through when they got to. No openings yet. Thaddeus Marshall, though, lap down, trying to get it back here. The only way to do it, well, you got to start getting put into lap traffic, and you got to get really through these fields and through this momentum. It's short burst versus long burst here, and these guys know that all too well. Chris Papa, though, kind of clipping the 45 a little bit, entering in turn number 3, barely missing that as they were going around, but the 14 of Christian Roos makes up for it by taking his position over. And Thaddeus now looking to take away the 45's run to get him back on a little bit closer to a lead lap scenario. Thaddeus has got to start driving a little harder and start pushing this one a little bit more under the gun if he wants any chance here, and he knows that. Matthew Rodriguez here in the 57 trying to move up the chains with Tom Bourne in the 16 here. 3 spots up for Rodriguez, 6 up for Tom Bourne, and you can probably guess who's the hard charge out of both of those guys. Although Chris Papa, not too shabby to say the least here. He's 4 spots up in his end, so he's not exactly just backing off and letting these guys by him that easily. He is hanging in there. We'll go on board here with him in the 13. Oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. Things are okay there. Coming through the edges here, coming through the tracks. Every position starting to matter a little bit here. McQuaid, despite the damage on that front end here, is still holding up and holding town on the charge. First page media though, 13 and the 14 behind him are both intertwined to try to get a run on him and trying to make him work for this just a little bit harder. It's close side-by-side racing between all drivers involved here. Even Thaddeus Marshall kind of intertwining a little bit. Looking for an opening, looking for a runoff here. Christian Roos here, you can see blocking his momentum. Thaddeus, I gotta believe right now, if I'm that 87 and I'm thinking, this cat right here is literally just slowing me down and giving me all sorts of headaches and all sorts of problems. I think it's about time I start giving him a headache or two for doing this at me. It's amazing how much patience and control he has. Again, tempers will flare here at Martinsville. Let's not kid ourselves there. That's a given fact. It will flare. I've never had one race at Martinsville where the tempers didn't flare, something didn't happen, and this is another one of those scenarios that might happen. The 485 Colt Martin stopped on the front end, and they'll have to throw the caution out to get him out of there. It's on the back straightaway, I should say, not the front end of the track here. We'll take a look at the replay. Or excuse me, it is the front straightaway. Excuse me, I thought it was. I don't know why I thought it was the back straight. Here's our look at it. And you can see what I talked about earlier. I said don't try to run it up onto that apron. Well, that's a good reason why. 485 had nowhere to go and ended up just kind of clipping it there. He could not get out of it in time, and unfortunately, just that little wiggle is all it took to screw up this entire race. So once again, they will have to restructure and re-rack, restack, recenter, and all that, and put this thing back onto the stale. We are approaching halfway marker of this race right now. 91 out of 200 laps have been completed. And remember, with the playoffs race on the line here, again, this is going to tell the difference. This is going to set the boys from the men. Remember, cutoff lines are as follow. Christian Roos right now is very much in debt to that cutoff line. He's got to be careful here. Blake Howell, Tom Bourne, a battle for that top spot, separated out by 3 points. Patrick McQuaid, if he can somehow get the 77 a little bit more flatlined and straightened out of here, I think he might have a chance here to make Howell and Bourne kind of a little bit more weary about how they battle each other and how they take positions on, because this could get very, very interesting throughout this race and throughout this run. Off a corner number 4, though, back to the green flag we go. We're back underway. Bring him through the fields. Bring him down through the legs. Exiting corner number 4. And Tom Bourne now has the position over from Blake Howell, but Howell is right there with him. He's not going to give him an inch here, though. That game subs is not letting off. Rodriguez watching from behind, trying to time his strategy here in the Steak and Shake 57. This is what you kind of live for as a driver. You look for these openings, you look for these timing shoots, these shots to really make up for the grounds and the time lost earlier on. You can see the drivers as we look on from our chopper cam here, high above into a tower end. Yeah, thankfully I was able to kind of manipulate some guys down here to give me a little bit of a tower end as well. So that's while they're at, they were nice enough to let me have a few free hot dogs too while they're at the Martinsville dogs, we like to know them as. I've never personally been to Martinsville, and I'm not gonna lie there. I really, really, really want to, but I don't think it'll be for quite some time before I can ever have that dream come to fruition. But I've been wrong before, so who knows? I don't know. Maybe I might try to plan later this year. I don't know. We'll see if that even can come about. It'd be awesome to get down here and just watch a race. Any of the races, really. Cup, Truck, Xfinity, doesn't matter. I'd watch it. Speaking of watching down right now, watching these guys kind of duke it out here corner by corner by corner. Every driver looking for positions, looking for gaps and openings here. Let's look at our timesheet here. Look at the difference between here of Wes Fuller and Chris Papa. Chris Papa, you saw there, lap number 96 here, had a good run on that number 35. Oh, whoa, 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 hold the phone. Wait just a minute here. We got problems down here. Matthew Rodriguez. In the 57, I believe Blake Howell also collided in here, and both drivers go for a tumble and a spin. And just when we were getting to the halfway point here as well, that is a very big opening here for Tom Bourne. Look at Blake Howell. He got loose off turn number 4 there. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I'm not sure. I know what we saw with Howell, but what the heck happened to Rodriguez? Did he snap lock it entering into the turn? Watch Howell. Here's the move. Whoa. That was a very, very big mistake, if you ask me, by Rodriguez. That was not a good move by any means as he came off that corner there. And I don't think necessarily that was his intention. I think his intention was, as we look at the replay on Blake Howell's rear dash cam, watch as he comes off the corner. You can see he's trying to get the car straightened out as he turned to straight in. But remember, with that snap lock style steering, you can't just simply do that, because if you get on the gas like that, then brake, that car will not have it. And unfortunately, him and Howell both losing it in the corner. What a tough break for both guys here. And now Howell is going to really be put up a creek without a paddle, because he's going to have some troubles really right now working with only that one fast repair that they were given today. Wow. Whew. Well, we're past halfway. But by God almighty, I don't even know who the heck to root for, or really who to even think is going to get around this one right now. Tom Bourne, right at the moment, as we're looking at points-wise, will have the top honors if Blake Howell finishes where he's at. Patrick McQuaid, though, will be still in that third rung. So he needs to start making some speed and making some differences up to get around to that 16. As for Carl Hamburg, well, I think we kind of forgot all about our boy there from Titletown Racing. He's just been, well, showed up and just kind of took us over and raced it out. That's all he's been doing. I mean, what else you want me to say about it? He's basically just been running it hard. He's running it well, but he's not doing anything too crazy. He's not doing anything too just over the top. He's just driving the track. And I think that's kind of added to his confidence level right now, knowing he doesn't have to feel any pressure right now. He doesn't have to feel like he's in a spot that's going to make him do something silly, something stupid, if you will. He's just right in a good charge and a good momentum boost. And as a driver, that's really all you need to know. That's all you really want to see. That's what you got to go for. All right, pace cars, lights turned off. They'll enter around turn number 2. And the field is set to go for another rung of racing here. All right, race fans, here we go. Let's get it fired back up here. Born Handwork are your starters. The men in the big old green machines, the mean green fighting machines, about to come off the corners and enter into the turns. Off a green start zone, restart, back out. We're back on our way. Oh, look at that left front tire. That 35 just completely locked up. Wes Fuller was trying to make Tom Bourne work for this one just a little bit more and go up against his Tiletown racing companion. Mama Fuller, get that rabbit's foot out. We need it rubbing because Wes needs to start charging and pushing up some speed. He knows where he's at in the playoffs, and he knows where he's at in the positions. He needs some speed here. Bumpers put together. Driver's getting sent off the clip. Look at that 77 though. Fresh bumper on that machine. And the CBD MD machine is now ready to full on hammer down. And you can see he's driving so hard on that outside line. Nearly losing it off turn number 2 though. Hangs on for dear life. Nicely done there. One wrong move and counter step, and that thing was going straight for the wall, and then whatever he had cleaned up was just going to get ruined and wrecked out, to say the least. But no, it stayed true to form. It hanged on. Pop on the outside. Look for the 77. No, he didn't quite get him there. Couldn't quite move him into position. He was setting up the run to push him into the inside and force him to go outside again. When you're a driver, we stand by a code. We always call it the driver's code. If somebody gets that left front fender into the rear tire, then that means that driver has gained position. That is their line. You can try and block them, but that's maybe not the smartest move to do. And unfortunately for Wes Fuller, he is going to have more problems down on the track. I was just about to talk about the driver's code a little bit more, and unfortunately I think Wes Fuller decided to play the donut simulator here. Let's see what happened. Right off corner number 4 there, you see that 35 just kind of got sidewinded, went for a ride, couldn't quite hold the line down. And you know, I know Wes is a driver, man. This kid can get it done, get some serious speed under his hood, but this is one of those ordeals you really just can't escape. It doesn't matter who you are, this won't happen. You can see him trying to refire. He wanted to get back out of there so quickly. Wow. Well, right about now, I wish I had a way to know if who took an instant repair down there or anything like that, but unfortunately, that's definitely not in my timing sheets. And also, the drivers did tell me they're not going to give that out to anybody, so I only can go on visuals here, guys, and I know who went and who did what. So, Robert Van Ness saying, "Welcome back, 77." He's welcoming that guy. He's welcoming McQuaid back into the top honors here. Thaddeus Marshall, by the way, he's back on the lead lap, so now Titletown has some help down here. Pace car lines the laps around, puts the lights up yet again. We are nearing the end of this race, and again, the stages are about to come to a close here. They're just rolling up on the final ends of it. Carl Hamwork won stage 1. That will give him the max amount of bonus points and the max amount of positions to put him into place here. And he needs it too, because right now he is on almost the bottom of the list here, 2029 to the 2048 of Blake Howell's run right now as the #1 seed entering in from the playoffs. The pace car lights turn off this time around. We'll send him down to the green flag. Let's next go. Race fans, if you are new to the channel, this is your first time ever here on Pete's Race TV, we only ask you one thing, and that is if you enjoy the show, we certainly hope you enjoy every bit of it, and we know you love it more than anything, but we would love for you guys also to come on down and like and follow us here on Pete's Race TV And then also head over to our YouTube, and well, while you're at it, just give us a little subscription there, because we do have live races and live shows, but also every single time and everything that we go live here on Facebook, it will be put onto the Facebook side at Following the Race. Green flag back on out. We're back on our way. And just as we left off, and seems like Blake Howell, though, man, give credit where credit's due. That 26, he really didn't lose any positions. The only thing he's got some damage on that left side of that car. I don't know how bad it's going to tear him up a bit. Don Barr and the player 116 trying to avoid the 26, though. You got to guarantee it right now. He is just watching that bumper of his, thinking, oh boy, if I break one step wrong, I'm going to get that bumper. And that's another thing, too, we don't talk about enough on the show, is the difference in driving styles. With this track, especially, braking is an extreme must. You must figure out each driver's braking points, each driver's spot, and how they hit the corners. It's very interesting to see kind of how everyone brakes. Everyone is very different. There's some that brake later. There's some that like to brake a little sooner and then kind of use the speed harder off on the exits. But times like that right there almost can just seem like it's not even worth trying. Ricky Gonzalez, though, what a great save off turn number 4. Managed to hold that 48 down on line and stay out of trouble. West Fuller is a lap down, but we've seen earlier that if you can still hold your line, hold your momentum down, you can change that up pretty quickly. It looks like he doesn't want anything to do with Ricky Gonzalez here, trying to keep his car somewhat relatively clean. But again, some, they like to kind of brake literally right about when they hit the cone. Some like to brake when they see the lights. Some are a little bit more edged in, whereas they will start braking as they get right into that black marking there. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on a minute. And it looks like Thaddeus Marshall decides to go for a little tumble, a fumble, and a spin, and a turn around in turn number 4. And that will bring us to the PT Minster replay. Let's take a look at the replay. A little bit of a sidewinder right here. Look at that 87, just kind of snap quick right off. Once again, it's that snap lock turning mechanism of these next gens that just send these things to such a ride and just all over the place. They're so darn difficult to hold the line in and keep a charge off with. And you can just see from this angle right here, watch how quick that wheel snaps as he ends to off turn. You can see he's forcefully trying to hold it on line, trying to hold it off. It's just oversteered and overcorrected itself, and it's just a little too late. Thaddeus has left the track. He's saying once is enough. I'm done with this one today. There's damage too much on the car, so he's calling it a night. Thaddeus will have the last place position points here, so that will hurt him a little bit here. What a tough break there for him and his crew. I'm honestly kind of curious to know what's going on down with those guys right now, what they're thinking. Because again, these guys are right now dealing with a handful of runs and a handful of issues, which involve pretty much trying to hold anything down on the track and trying to hold these cars online. It's just been a wild, wild race, to say the least. Carl Handwork, if you really don't consider his pit stops and everything when he didn't have the lead for that time, pretty much has all but dominated here at Martinsville for this 200 lap race. Out of 120 laps, 23, 24 laps we've ran, and under those yellow lights, man, he just continues to thrive and conquer with seemingly no troubles and no mess ups on his end. You can hear drivers right now kind of being a little more superstitious about how hard they hit the throttle right now and how hard they get around the corners. Guys are trying to save fuel, and they're trying to be a little bit more preservant on those tires as well. So when we get back to the green belt, we'll have 75 laps left to go. And I'm still of the complaint since that this may get interesting with about 20 to go. Again, it's Martinsville. It's a paperclap configuration, or paperclap. What did I just say? Paperclap? Somebody turn that into a T-shirt and ring it to Martinsville. I guarantee you'll sell about 20 of them before the night's over with. I meant paperclip though. It's configuration again because this again with this track and embankments and its tire ends, it's so low banked, so tight and hard to handle. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if it's even possible to handle around this track. It's like trying to handle a bull for 8 seconds in a professional rodeos competition, and the only thing you got to your name is a clown suit guy right beside you, and no protective gearing on your name. It's just gonna be a lot of trouble and a lot of issues later on in life if you're not careful. But as we bring the green flag back on out, we'll see if these guys can hang in this one and push on to the forward of the speeds. And you can see Papa locking the tires up a little bit as he enters off into the turns. Tom Bourne, though, he's got company, and he's got more than just company. He's got that 77 McQuaid blocking his chance to take over third again. McQuaid knows he needs to start racing harder. He's got to start getting more aggressive and start pushing that 77 CBMD up to the front and make a move off for the runs here. I think his only opportunity, his only claim to fame is all that will be with this now intrusifying run. This intrusifying momentum and speed coming through here, hanging on as much as they can. Tom Bourne right now is now moved back into third. McQuaid wasn't able to hold him down. Well, the boys get a little squared up in here and have a little fun on the track. I say it's time we have a little fun. Let's crank it up a notch here on Martinsville. Whoa, hold on a moment down there. Caution's out, caution is out, caution is out. Caution flies out here. That is for the 26th, Blake Allen. That is not a good time. If you're that 26th, you have to see that caution come out and have more troubles on that front of the nose. Car takes a bit of a hit here. Let's take a look at the replay. And this really was a last-ditch effort to get that 51 here, but this is a big this was a big mistake because now you'll see that front end is completely severed off. Tom Bourne and McQuaid are watching with close eyes with their crew in mind, because now they know they've got a very surreal chance at possibly doing something big here. Race control and the flagman doing a great job keeping an eye on the race tonight here, keeping an eye out for the wrecks and the drivers getting seriously injured here. Great stuff from the crew and the workers. And I got handed to Billiter as well as the rest of these guys down here, man, for working with these teams, working with these drivers time and time again. They always come out here to try to put on a good show, trying to come out here and give a fair race to everyone. They are certainly doing that and then some today. So here we go, race fans. We have got 65 laps that need to be completed here on the show. And with time running out, There is no gimmies here. There are no more breaks in between. You better start working for it, and you better start running for it. Because this is going to get very, very interesting later on in this race. Handwork could seriously use a point stay and a half. And if something happens to Tom Bourne and McQuaid and they go further back in with Blake Howell right now, this literally could be a stealing of the points. He could honestly jump into the top spot if he gets that chance here. I think he's well aware of that, and he just might have got that kiss from the 14th Christian Roos. Oh my goodness, Tom Bourne gets sent to the shadow realm, and the 14 I think just clipped him straight to it. Oh my goodness, what's happened? What has happened to the 14 and the 16? Watch this, off the run. Watch the 16. And the 14 just came right through him. And I'm pretty sure that is going to be a Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman scenario right there. And I think you could probably guess who's the Hamlin of the crew. You can just look. Well, thankfully, iRacing doesn't have a way to put fingers up or anything like that, or any hand signals at anybody. I think that might be a good plan and a good strategy there, but one more look at it. Yeah, he was on the brakes there. You can see he's steering into it, but he wasn't trying to get the 16. Unfortunately, the 16 may not agree with that strategy very much. Roos is going to get the black flag here. He's going to get put back into the outhouse. He'll get an EOL, not a... So, black flag penalty in this case will send him to the outskirts of the back run. He will still be on lead lap as long as he doesn't go too far back. Actually, it looks like he will be putting a lap down here. So that's what the call is. So black flag on him is then, and EOL. Oh boy. Tom Bourne and Patrick McQuaid farther back than I think any of them expected, and the same can be said for Blake Howell. Carl Handwork right now has literally got to be seeing rainbows, sunshines, and all happy stuff around his end, because this point he might just be able to sneak away with the points lead in the playoffs picture. If these drivers stay as far back as they are right now, they're going to have to start making some very critical decisions. They're going to need to start really timing and executing everything here on the show, because this is going to get very, very interesting, folks. Unbelievable, though. I mean, unbelievable. Alright, race fans, here we go. Lights are turned off around on the pace car. He'll exit off out of turn number 3, and the drivers now are set in motion, ready to get back into the playing field, into the zone. This is going to be a heavy hitters contest here between these drivers. Every single one of them trying to make the best of what they can get. Cole Martin in the 45 right now is literally thinking to himself, if I can just get one good restart, I think I might have something for that 51. We're about to find out, though. Green flag out, and we're back underway. Whoa! And a horrible start there for the 45. I'm not sure if that was exactly his intentions there, but he did not get off the line through the chicane. I'll tell you what. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh, my. The 45 almost lost that one in the turn. You saw him literally slamming the brakes as Wes Fuller kind of caved down on him. Remember what I said earlier about the driver's code? Unless you get that whole front bumper, as well as that tire literally right on the rear tire of the other driver, you do not have lane position. That's the driver's code. Some follow it, some don't. I typically try to follow it, but that doesn't mean others won't. Papa looking to be the daddy-o son and start making some money around this track. But he's got some work to do still though. Driving that looks like tonight the 31. I've been calling it the 13 all day. Is that the 31 now? Papa, when did you change your number there, brother? You gotta tell me when you're changing that stuff, man. I didn't even realize it was the 31. I was looking at my live timing sheet. It said the 13. It's been the 31 this whole time. Well, Lord, I might get a little crucified for that one in the comments section. Down to the final reins here. We are only about 50 laps left to go, almost. And Patrick McQuay now, look at him start to mount a charge, starting to mount some positions here. They're going to have a tight corner battle entering in 3 and 4. This is where trouble usually starts at. Fans are just jaw-dropping and just kind of keeping up on their feet every now and then. They are watching on at this magnificent battle and a huge race underway. Carl Handwork is getting further and further away from this field. You might as well call this man the man of Martinsville, because nobody has even come close to figuring out how the heck to carry his speed or how the heck to even stay alert or speed focused. Tom Bourne and Blake Hallow were literally the only two closest, and even then they lost it in the turn off the exit of 4 and 2 respectively. You can even see Wes Fuller, who is really right now kind of keeping the gap away there from the number 16 Tom Bourne. He's getting very loose off those corner exits. He's hitting that flat spot ends and those flat spot runs. It's making it very difficult to kind of hold the line down. Tom Bourne, though, straight shoot gaps it around and holds line up ahead. Wes Fuller knew he had to back off. He let him by and gave him the opening. And now at last, when Hart and Work comes around here, we will have 50 laps left to go. Oh, and a little tap there for the 45 from the 31 there. Press Papa. Papa opened the door up. 3 wide sloop. Patrick McQuaid sneaks him on by. And now Ricky Gonzalez down there giving a little bumper to that 31. But Papa's not getting any love here from the kids down there. Well, he says he's a dirt driver since '99. Well, he better be using some of that dirt driving techniques to his advantage here, because he's going to be slipping and sliding and dealing with some heavy contact from these boys every now and then. My word, as he hanged on and hold on for all the shots he's had to deal with today. He has done more so than usual. Wes Fuller lost a lot of speed, now falling back. Blake Howell once again is back in the top 5, almost seamlessly, effortlessly. And effortlessly run is pretty tough to tame, pretty tough to kind of combat from. Tom Bourne, though, like a madman on a mission. He is really wheeling this thing around. We talk about the wheel men of our generations and the generational talents that come through. I think we might have to put Tom Bourne's run tonight as one of them here, and Carl Handworks as well. But unfortunately for Cole Martin, the same can't be said in his case. And the 45 once again deadlock stop on the front straightaway here. What has happened to the 45? Robert Van Ness, nice move there, 77. Yeah, he's been making some pretty strong moves throughout this race, but we'll see what happens with 45 here. Looks like just a bit of a bad move off of corner 4. It looked to me like he was trying to dig the nose in a little deeper off the corner around with the 31 here, 1-3 speeds, number of Chris Papa. But it looked like the car did not quite rotate as well as maybe it should have. And yeah, you can see right there, it did not rotate nearly as well as it should have there, and ended up costing him dearly. Try to refire to stay green, but couldn't get it out of the way in time, and you could hear the car just kind of lock up in transmission. And look at this. Carl Handwork is going to be left all alone for a brief fleeting moment. Because Tom Bourne is now going to be a race leader. Handwork's now got to be put into a position he hasn't been put into in quite some time. He's going to have to find a way to move the chains around this field. Tom Bourne, for the first time really all day, will finally have a chance to see if he can pull the reins back and pull the run into his side. But again, Blake Howell will not give it to him that easily here. He'll have to deal him on the outside, and he'll have to deal with the other guy that's trying to knock him down off the top spots here. Patrick McQuaid in the 77 on the inside, entering out the start. If I'm literally in this position right now, my first thought is, I'm glad I got the inside. Don't ever give me the outside in Martinsville. That's a bad omen to entering into a turn or entering a corner, because you pretty much got to put it right to their side fenders to hold them down and hold them on line. And even then, there's still no telling. They may just shoot you up the gap and shoot you out around the track. Will that happen to Tom Bourne here in the 16? He's going to have to take this one airborne to get around the corners and get around the speeds here. Exit off turn number 4, awaiting the green flag. You see our flagman down the bottom left of your screen there, looking for the charge, looking for the run. Green flag's out. We are just simply a mere 40 laps away now from crowning a race winner here in Martinsville. It's been a long, long fight for every single one of these drivers, but they've given it their heart, they gave it their soul, and they've been doing everything they can. For some of them, though, they've had to work a little bit harder than others. And for Carl Handwork now he's got to find a way to do pretty much what Blake Allen and them have all done all day. And it looks like Rodriguez will fill the wrap of Handwork here. Caution flies out here. Trouble down in turn number 3 as the 57 takes a little tumble and a hit there from the from, I believe, the right front fender. Yeah, the right front fender of Carl Handworth. And the old bump and run gets put to good use. I'm not so sure Rodriguez would agree with that, though, that statement. I don't think he's going to be too fond of Handwork after that one. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on just a minute down there. Wait just a minute. Hold the phone. What was that? What the heck? Hang on just a minute here. Okay, hold on just a sec, Rodriguez. I'm gonna say something on that one. Yeah, don't do nonsense like this in any kind of racing industry or anything like that. That there is not something you do. I can see the frustration, the temper there on the 57, but that was a horrible move to do at a fellow driver when he's trying to run for a championship as much as you are. I get it was a racing ordeal, but this is not a racing ordeal. This is just plain ridiculous. Watch. And you can't tell me that wasn't targeting. Absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I know I could get a little too cleared up on this. I could get a little bit hot-headed sometimes with these kind of calls, but I have a passion for this sport, and I don't like people doing this kind of nonsense in our sport, trying to give us a bad name for everything we deal with. It's hard enough trying to get the racing world to have some respect and coherence for us. And that there, damaging of equipment and doing something like that right there, ridiculous to say the least. Alright, I know I lost my cool there a little bit. I do apologize to the folks at home that may not have wanted to hear that, and I know I got a little passionate, but again, you got to remember when we get on these broadcasts, I have a passion that I'm going to definitely share, and I have said it many drivers before, and I've definitely gotten pretty hot-headed about, so I apologize. I kind of lost my cool there. I will revert back to being professional here, let these guys race them out. Let's just get this finished up, but definitely racing tempers there. Got in the way of the 57 of Rodriguez and as well with Carl Handwork. Let's get back to it though, boys. Here we go. Green flag back on out. Fielding back into position here, past the hard racing, the momentum, corners coming through. Looks like Ricky Gonzalez having a little tussle there with that 35 Wes Fuller. As the 51 Carl Handwork now looks to try to work the field and work the magic around this with a broken front end. Do the damage. Well, you can probably guess where that was caused from, unfortunately. Whether or not that cost him his race, we'll have to see here in a minute. But right now, he is still holding on. West Florida not too far back either. Titletown Racing does not have any quit. They have no give whatsoever. They will fight to the end of this race, and that is respectable on many commitments. But up front right now, the GG26 Ford Mustang versus that other Ford Mustang and Tom Bourne are about to go out of here. But just a mere 30 laps left to go. Ellen Ford, yeah, my thoughts exactly, girl. And again, I'm going to say this real quick. If you heard my little rant there, guys, I apologize. I don't like doing that. But again, you got to remember, I'm not just an ordinary broadcaster, and I don't like showing things on the broadcast end like that at all. I will get hot-headed and it will get very temperamental because we're as drivers, we're an iRacing community. We are a community of folks that are trying to help keep and maintain a good structure and a good manufacturer business here for our sport as the sport continues to go through evolving changes. But damaging up equipment and damaging up drivers just to simply get back at them for what really is nothing more than just an unfortunate incident or an issue, really that stuff needs to be left by fists and cuffs in my opinion. Don't ever put it on the cars, the way I look at it. So again, I apologize. I lost my cool there. We'll try to reverting back to being professional as I can, but you know as well as anything, guys, you come on these shows, you kind of get an idea of what I'm up to. And speaking of Carl Handwork, he's already up to a bit more. He's showing he is not giving out. He's got a lot of fights still in that 51. He passes the 77 of Patrick McQuaid. Ellen, I appreciate it, darling. Thank you so much. McQuaid right now trying to hold down the line here in the 77 with that 35. West Florida now moving up the chains and moving in position, looking to try to take him over. And you can see that Titletown boy himself, man, he is trying to just keep the car in peace and straight on the line and on the shot. He knows he's got some areas to work with and some places to run off to, but he's got to be careful here with the last bit coming up because the time is starting to run out. Laps starting to be less frequent and positions starting to get more difficult to really catch up to. You really need to start kind of finding a line, finding an area to hit up better than anyone here. Chris Papa here at the 31 and Christian Roos in the 14. Duking it out a little bit, trying to find openings and trying to find some runs when they can here. Every one of these drivers doing what they can do to hold on to the charge and hold down the line. Times are starting to run out a little bit. Only about 23 now, 22 laps to go. Tom Bourne is starting to run away from the field, starting to run away here from Blake Howell, knowing he's got a bit of a chance here to start taking full control and full aim out of this one. Look at Carl Handwork though, you saw he was pretty much gaining every ounce of speed, every ounce of momentum here on Howell. Handwork though smashed right into the wall protection off turn number 4 though. He'll lose some time from that one. Not by any penalties by any means, but because of the fact that he's just going to keep rubbing that thing off, it's going to slow him down. When you hit the wall, obviously friction kind of comes back and reverts back to biting you there, and that's exactly what the 51 is dealing with here. But again, there's really not a lot he can do. You can see he's just, right now at this point, I think he's just kind of dead-eyed here. Just hoping that he can hold this thing online and hope for a little charge or two to come off from later. The car is hurt, though. It is definitely hurt. Christian Roos now the number 14, battling up here, looking for a spot on the run. And these guys just do not have any quit. They do not have any give whatsoever. And that is definitely the case with the 31 and that 14. I want to say the 13 because that's the number you see on your screen, but also it's the number he's usually running out there. So, but unfortunately, it looks like we reverted up to the wall protection instead of reversing the wall around here. Got a little too eager to get up within the speeds back into that throttle, and that loud pedal ends up straight shooting him down for a little bit of a ride there. Time running out. Laps are starting to give in. Tom Bourne, the 16, he's going to have 16 laps to go. And if there was ever a time to be a Bourne fan, it definitely is right about now. But Blake Owl, he's not far out of this one yet. Can the GG Ford Mustang come at him here and take him down? If that 26 gets up to that 16, I guarantee you one thing is for sure. There may be a little bit of play in those bumpers here. You may see some fenders kind of put together. 15 left. Howell, oh, he's getting a good run in those entries. He's getting a lot better entry and a lot better exits than Bourne is. And I think Bourne's starting to realize that. He knows what he's got to do. He's got to start blocking. If he can block the bottom, it forces the 26 to either go to the outside or it forces him to have to kind of push around a little bit. And Bourne can block it still by just simply keeping the brake rotor underneath him. But he's got to be careful. We saw what happens earlier when tempers get a little bit too enticing here. And I don't just mean mine. Top 5 here with the final lap split on your screen here. These drivers at a hard charge and a frenetic pace. Patrick McQuay, Wes Fuller further back than everybody, but handwork, Powell and Bourne. Unbelievable to say the least. Even with the damage on that 51, that Titletown boy will not give an inch. He's not going down. And even within the wall protection, he's still not going down there. These guys will not simply give up. Nobody wants to give in or give out. They'll put everything to the wire and everything down on the track. That's exactly how they want to do it. That's exactly what they want to do. They won't give an inch here, and handwork right now knows this too well. Howell trying to hold on, trying to get some speed back at Tom Bourne here. Bourne is slowing up, is starting to build speed back around though. You can see the time zones in the gap there. That was a bit of a push there from the 16 cam. And handwork is now moved up ahead. Powell goes way too far wide. Open the door up. Now the 51 sneaks away back in. Handwork now has the opportunity. That's about a second gap in between. Handwork needs to start drilling the throttle and start hitting these corners up just a little bit better. He has a chance, but the 16 is just continuously blocking that run by simply keeping the dirty air in front, keeping the dirty air behind him and keeping that clean air right in front of him. Gap change, 1/10 of a second there coming off of turn number 2. The gap is starting to shrink. Tom's in trouble. Tom is starting to slow up a little bit. I don't know if he's just doing that to save for the final 2 laps or if he's starting to really hurt a little bit, but you can see the gap is starting to shrink. Handwork is getting a much better corner off in the entries and the exits. Oh, but that one was their mistake there off turn 2. He overdrove it. He slams the wall protection off of turn number 2, and Howell can't quite hang on either. He's trying to hold it down just to not spin it out. Bourne is starting to run away. And look at this. Handwork still somehow gets back into the throttle. He's still got the speed. Bourne is in deep, deep trouble now. Here comes that 51, 5 laps to go. How on earth is that 51 still even running, much less still has anything under the hood there to even get him? I don't even know, but these things are as tough as they come, I suppose. Oh, look at Bourne there. You saw Bobble. The tire's starting to swivel around. He's having troubles keeping it under control. 4 to go. Handwork is just simply one corner away from giving Bourne the business, and he knows it. Will he do it, though, or will he try to run him clean to the inside? Bourne is slipping. He's sliding. He's blocking. He's defending for everything. He's got just trying to hold Handwork off. 3 laps left. Trying to hold on. This is what Martinsville's all about. This is what you come to see. This is what you want to expect and what you want to come to the table with. Handwork a little bit higher up. He's trying to force Bourne to stay low and then go higher down so he can make the run off with 2 to go. It wasn't enough there. He's going to try it again. Drives it up higher. He's looking to try to shoot him in the inside there. Can I get a run off? No. He still can. Bourne blocked it. I think Bourne might have to realize that what's coming up next might just be what he fears most. But to the white flag we go. We wave him off. Oh, look at this. Handwork. Caught him on the outside. Now trying to drive him into the inside yet again. He's got a lot of run down there. He's got a lot of speed. Is he going to give him the bumper entering into 3? He's going to drive hard. There it is. The bumper into the turn. The bumper into the turn. They're side by side. No! Handwork loses it out of turn 4. It's going to go to Tom Bourne. Carl Handwork will still come across the line 5th. But unfortunately, it was all for naught. Just like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch on the last lap to determine the Final 4 2 years ago, we see a similar story as Tom Bourne will hold on to the line and hold down to the track. He hangs on and wins it here in Martinsville, but frankly, I don't want to be a spoiler or anything rude at the guy, but you gotta tip your hat off and tip your head and nod your head to the 51, the speed, the control, the power under the hood, and everything he did, especially with what plagued him in the closing laps, was nothing but just a pure racer's mentality. Hats off to you, Handwork. That is all I have to say to you, sir. Tom Bourne, though, races his race and wins it out. Defends off Blake Howell, Wes Fuller, Patrick McQuaid, and yes, the 5th place driver, Carl Handwork. Christian Rusco, 6th. 7 to Chris Papa, 8 to Ricky Gonzalez, 9th to Rodriguez, 10th to Cole Martin, and Thaddeus Marshall will go 11th, respectfully, rounding out your field. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's time to talk with the top 3. Joining me now up on the first part of the race run, the 35, Wes Fuller will come away 3rd today here. Wes, first off, congratulations holding the line down, holding your charge in for a 3rd place finish. And I'll ask you this, sir. You had quite a few spins and twists and turns to deal with here at Martinsville. This track was not giving you guys any breaks, was it? Wes, you got a copy down there, buddy? Hold on, folks. He might be trying to adjust his mic here, though. Might be a second here. Here, see if we can get him now. Let's see if we can get him. Wes, you got a copy?
Man, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
You got me now?
Ah, yeah, I got you now, buddy.
Ah, there you are. All right. Did you hear anything we said on the broadcast, or would you like to repeat ourselves?
I sure did not.
Okay, well, I'll explain it again. So you had quite a few twisted turns here through the turns and through the paperclip style configuration here in Martinsville. But nevertheless, though, the car held up just long enough to get a 3rd. But this track was not going to make it easy for you guys, was it?
This track's hard, man. That was a crazy race. I was all over the place. I was just hoping for a top 5, to be honest.
Well, I mean, the top 5 still came out with something a little bit more than that. You got a 3rd place finish out of that. I got to believe that will help kind of keep your momentum high and keep your confidence boosted up here on the show, wasn't it?
that sure helped with moving on to the next round in the playoffs. I Carl should have been in top three. He should be the one talking to you guys, but it's kind of like the other short tracks. I've kind of looked into getting really good finish. Yeah, that was crazy.
It was crazy indeed, but nevertheless, a third place finish for you and your crew. So I'll ask you this, sir: who do you want to thank for that?
All the guys at Charlottetown Racing, Gutter Pro, Bushlight, Joker Graphics, my mom for watching, my dad for watching, uh, Josh for putting all this on, and you guys for broadcasting. I think we're gonna make a run at the championship, which I've never done, so I am super stoked, and this sure helps.
It sure does help indeed. We can't wait to see what happens the next couple races and the rounds to come. Wes, congratulations on the third place finish, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Number 35 here, Wes Fuller comes away here in third. Your second place man today, though, will be Blake Howell in that 26. And Blake, what a wild amount of circumstances we just witnessed here. You guys go completely wall to wall on the verge, on the momentum corners and the turns here, trying to hang on there with handwork as well as dealing with Fuller every now and then. But Tom Bourne was really the main sight for you before we got to about 20 laps to go. What was going through your mind with the car starting to get too tight down there?
Man, it got super tight later on in the run. I thought I had this thing set up to make it through, but just as the night went on, it got tighter and tighter, and then tires wore on. It just started getting loose, and I couldn't keep with them. I know I couldn't, but I'm happy to come away with second. Uh, just a good night overall. Finish where you started, so I'll take it.
Finish where you started, put this thing to good use, and really try to hold on for as much as you can. And the biggest thing we kind of looked at here was long run. Would these cars be able to handle? They definitely did, but how hard was it for you and the crew to kind of keep up with the last bit of this race here, knowing things were getting a bit crazy here at the end?
Well, I really spent most of the last part of the race praying I wouldn't wreck myself or get wrecked by somebody else because fast repair was long gone. But man, if only Tom had got tagged in the quarter panel there at the very end, might have stole one. But yeah, it happens.
Well, we can't say he didn't get tagged. It just wasn't quite maybe what you were thinking there, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, though, still, it was a solid position in performance here. So as you come away today with a second place finish, who do you want to thank you for that?
Want to thank Boogity Media, Red Duck Comics, 1-3 Speed, and Gamer Subs for this amazing livery tonight.
It's a pretty sweet looking ride and a pretty sweet looking win to this one here. It goes away second today. So we're coming out with the second wind underneath him. The 26 will go second tonight. Thanks for coming on board, Blake. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Blake Allen, ladies and gentlemen, will come away here as your second place man. But the guy that comes out on top of it all, Tom Bourne, just hangs on off of turn 4 and wins this one here at Martinsville. Tom, congratulations on another race win here. And boy, howdy, I gotta believe right now you're thinking, I don't even know how the heck I hold that one off or even managed to hold down handwork. He was right there with you, my friend.
Yeah, the win feels good, but we had a good car all race long. Didn't get the qualifying effort we wanted, but the long run pace was there. Where everybody else was struggling, I really found something where they weren't going, they weren't doing, and it paid off in the end towards that long run. With the last, I believe, like 60 laps to go. Like I said, solid car throughout. Hats off to I know Carl threw the kitchen sink at it on those last couple laps. Hats off to him for just giving me a little tap, not just ending me into the corner and turning me. But and hats off to Blake and Wes for top 3 finishes as well. I don't know where Carl ended up after that spin off 4, but sucks for him. It's good for us, and we move on.
You definitely move on. You have to get a little bit further into the fields here in the playoffs run. I know right now as a driver, you obviously are very focused and determined to really start get bigger and better things here. And I know really the biggest thing you're looking at is going to be that top spot when the time comes. But with this win today, though, I have to believe this kind of adds a few more points to your name and your resume, but you still are going to have a lot more to work on as the weeks can fall in, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Fortunately, we got hot at the right time of the season with the 2 wins earlier, like towards the end of the season, regular season, I should say, and the third place last week and the win tonight. Solid stage points throughout all of them. We're looking pretty good. Nashville's one of my best tracks coming up next week, and hopefully we can go out there and I'll be talking to you again. It's becoming a regular thing where I'm ending up talking to you week in and week out.
Well, we'll have to see if you talk with us yet again here, but nevertheless, Bourne, what a race and what a time to be. Is there anybody else you want to thank for this one?
Yeah, I just want to thank my team for putting together another great car week in, week out. Um, you know, again, hats off to Carl, Blake, Wes. They all had good cars tonight. Um, G Fuel Player One finally got the Player One coffee back in victory lane. Um, you know, I'm missing things, but okay, I'll figure it out later after the broadcast. You for putting on an amazing broadcast again, week in and week out. I saw my friend Kira; she was watching at some point, and shout out to her and everybody else watching the broadcast. And hopefully, we put on a show tonight, and we can continue putting on a show next week.
For sure there, Tom. Congratulations on this race win, man. Great to see you back on top honors, and we'll certainly hope to see more of you here in the future.
Thanks, man.
Tom Bourne, ladies and gentlemen, takes it airborne here in Martinsville, wins it all out, and that will be his race win, to say the least. Race fans, this was wild, and did I mention it was wild? This was a great race, but it was certainly a race not without its faults and controversy, so we'll let you guys leave that to describe and to figure that out in the comments below here on the Facebook Live section, as well as from the YouTube replay right later, but it's been a wild day of racing and a wild night of action, but here at Pizza Race TV, we thank you all for tuning in. Stay tuned for more action as we come far. We may have some action to show you tomorrow. We don't know yet. We'll see. But for now, we love you guys. Thanks from the bottom of our hearts here at Pizza Race TV. So long and farewell for now.